What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to episode 6 of my hit show, Booch Shoots On. And this week, what we're going to be talking about, we're getting back to the wrestling. Booch shoots on Matt Hardy going to AEW. And basically, for those of you who may not know, here's the backstory. Matt Hardy, last month, his contract expired with WWE. He had let his contract ride out. He had been looking for different options. He had been going to either Impact Wrestling, NWA. He had talks with Triple H about coming to NXT, signing back, and also AEW. He had dinner with the Young Bucks and had a few other talks and everything else. Ultimately, he settled on coming to AEW. He made his debut in the empty arena. Vanguard 1 kind of showing up, which to me, I didn't like the Vanguard 1 appearance. I felt that it took away from the surprise of Matt Hardy. Like, once you saw Vanguard 1, you knew Matt Hardy was there. So I felt that took away everything. You know, especially since the drone was slowly flown in and everything. I thought they should have just did it without the drone and had, you know, the Young Bucks say, hey, we called in a favor, and then played the piano music and showed Matt Hardy up there in the stands. I thought that would have been a much better way to debut him, but whatever. But apparently, what's interesting about this go-around is that Matt Hardy is supposed to be apparently a more serious side to him. Apparently, instead of the gold streak, he has the red streak. He's now called Damascus, who's 3,000 years old, and, you know, it's the spirit existing in the new vessel, the new spirit in the old vessel. And apparently, it's supposed to show a darker, more aggressive side to Matt Hardy. Because before, he'd been kind of comedic and funny, and even though this one still has its comedic moments, for the most part, it's supposed to be darker and more aggressive, and we're going to see a different side to Matt Hardy, which I'm very much looking forward to seeing, because, you know, I've been a huge Matt Hardy fan for most of my life. I like the Hardy Boys as a tag team, but whenever they went solo, I always felt that Matt got the short end of the stick, and I fucking hated it, because to me, Matt Hardy is better than Jeff. Yes, I said it. Matt is better than Jeff. He's a better wrestler. He's a better human being, in my opinion. You know, Matt, you know, is the guy that has such a creative mind, and every time he's gone solo, he's reinvented himself and created his own gimmicks and did a lot of amazing stuff and was definitely deserving of being a world champion, but WWE never gave him that opportunity. The closest thing he got was the ECW title, and you already know how I feel about that if you've been following the series. So, you know, they never really gave him a real shot at being a main eventer, and every time it looked like they were going to push him, they would end up pulling the rug out from under him and either putting him in a tag team or having him be a jobber, and it was fucking ridiculous. Meanwhile, they pushed Jeff Hardy to the moon, who's nothing more than a spot monkey. I'm sorry, like, it's great to be a spot monkey when you're in a tag team and you can do cool tag team shit, but Jeff Hardy is basically, he's all style and no substance. He's all sizzle and no steak. That's the best way to describe it. Unless he's jumping off of something, he's not interesting to see. And it's the same shit every time. You know, Jeff is the best way to describe it. If I can put it in, I'll put it in wrestling terms. Jeff's a guy that'll make you $1 million in one night. Matt's a guy that'll draw you steady money for 20 years. To put it in regular terms, Jeff Hardy is the kind of woman that will give you amazing sex for one night. Every position you want, everything you've ever dreamed of. Matt Hardy is the type of girl that will give you amazing sex, but also cook and clean and do wifely duties and shit like that. That's the fundamental difference between Matt and Jeff, to me. You know, every time Jeff's been given the ball, he's dropped it. Drugs or no drugs, he's dropped the ball every single time. You know, people get excited when he gets the title, and then he does very little to nothing with it. It's never been anything special. You know, so I've always felt that Matt got screwed in that regard. You know, that's why I'm glad he's in AEW. I'm hoping that the AEW is going to know what to do with Matt Hardy. They're going to put him in the right position. And obviously, I don't expect them to put the world title on him right away because Jon Moxley just won the belt. If Chris Jericho was still the champion, I would say put the belt on broken Matt Hardy now. Go to Double or Nothing, have him beat Jericho, and make him the champion. But because Moxley's got the belt, obviously he needs a decent title reign for a while. Let him ride as champion. But at some point, I expect broken Matt Hardy to have that belt. And I truly believe they're going to put the belt on him. And I want Matt Hardy to stay as far away from the tag team division as possible. The only time I want to see a tag team belt around Matt Hardy's waist is if Jeff Hardy, a.k.a. Brother Nero, shows up in AEW. Obviously, if the Broken Hardys get back together in AEW, obviously you want to make them the tag team champions. But if Jeff doesn't come to AEW, put Matt Hardy in and make him the world champion. That's what needs to happen. And I also love the fact that Matt Hardy is allowed to be more creative than he's ever been, you know, because AEW does give these guys the freedom to sink or swim with their gimmicks, which is great. Also, I know they're going to be open to a lot of ideas that Matt Hardy has, because Matt's very much a, you know, like I said, an ideas man. The only drawback to me is at some point I know we're going to get some type of deletion match from the Hardy compound. We've had the final deletion, we've had Deleter Decay, we've had Apocalypto, WWE had the ultimate deletion. I don't know what they're going to call it. I don't even know what you would say after the ultimate deletion or the final deletion. They've already been used. So Matt, but knowing Matt, he's such a wordsmith, he'll come up with something. But my big thing is he's not going to have Jeremy Borash there to help him. Because Jeremy Borash was a big part of the production side of that in TNA and in WWE. Because when Matt got his gimmick back finally after the lawsuit with TNA, right around that time, Jeremy Borash had left TNA and signed with NXT. And that's where he works now, down in NXT. So they were able to collaborate, get together, and work on the Ultimate Deletion to make it great. Well, unless Jeremy Borash gets signed by AEW at some point, which I don't know for sure if that's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think they want to lose him, especially now. I don't know how Matt's going to be able to handle this without Jeremy Borash. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying it's going to be interesting to see if he can make that happen. That's all I'm saying. And also, I just love the fact the gimmicks the promos back and forth between Matt and Jericho, I think have been great. So if they do an ultimate deletion type thing, I think Chris Jericho is the guy that should do it. It should be Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho at the Hardy compound. That's what needs to be built up to. I would love to see that happen at some point. I feel like they need to have that match. Because obviously Matt's going to be debuting in the Blood and Guts, a.k.a. the War Games match. He's going to be with the Elite, which means Nick Jackson gets a little bit more kayfabe time off. And of course, Kenny Omega, we don't know what the fuck's happening with him. 1 minute he's hurt, 1 minute he's wrestling, 1 minute he's hurt, 1 minute he's wrestling. I'm hearing 50 different stories from 50 different people. But apparently Moxley might replace Kenny Omega if he's injured in that match, since he also has issues with the Inner Circle. But ultimately, my big thing is I just hope that Matt Hardy gets treated right in AEW. They don't make the same mistake that WWE made over and over and over again. I hope this isn't something where Matt gets a great singles push and then all of a sudden out of nowhere he's jobbing to random people or gets stuck in some random tag team or ends up a part of the Dark Order. Because if he's not going to be the exalted one of the Dark Order, which we all thought he was going to be, keep him away from that shit. So I don't need to see any of that. Although a Matt Hardy, Brody Lee rivalry is definitely something I would want to see. I think the rivalry, the matches would be great, but obviously don't make him a member of that. Let Broken Matt be Broken Matt and give him the push that he deserves. Give him the title reign he deserves, and let Broken Matt draw money for you like only Matt Hardy can. And I feel like it's just weird that, you know, Matt Hardy has such a love for WWE, and, you know, WWE claims to have such a love for the Hardy Boys, but yet they never did right by Matt, ever. Even in the rivalry with Edge, you know, Matt got one victory over Edge in the cage match, but they ultimately gave Edge the winning of the feud, which I always thought was fucking stupid, especially since the whole storyline revolved around a real life thing where Edge slept with Matt Hardy's girlfriend Lita at the time. So it's just, they've never done right by Matt Hardy, ever. Unless he was in a tag team with Jeff. That's the only time they ever did right by him. Other than that, they have screwed Matt Hardy over time and time again. And I frankly am sick and tired of seeing it. And I'm really hoping that AEW is going to be the company that does right by him. Because I can tell you right now, if AEW fucks up Broken Matt Hardy, if they don't push Matt Hardy the right way, I can tell you right now, you'll never see me wear this shirt again. And if I do talk about AEW, it'll only be with Elvis on the Booch cast, and he'll be doing the majority of the talking because I ain't going to watch the product. Because I refuse to watch any wrestling product that doesn't do right by a talented individual like Matt Hardy. He deserves so much better than what he's been getting. And I really hope AEW is the place for him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude this episode of Booch Shoots On. This is really all I wanted to talk about this week. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, ring the bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Booch Shoots On, as well as other additional Vinny Bucci YouTube content. Check back next week for a new episode. And until then, pizza, baby!